That's fine.
If there's such a thing as a genius, I am one. If there isn't, I don't care. Listen, I didn't say that. That was a quote from John Lennon, and the year was 1970.
The 70s were a town of profound change in politics, the economy, music, yep, disco.
Disco.
Disco. It's all captured in Searching for the 70s at the Durham Museum.
That's the same decade we were born. Jessica
the decade
Brummer
of excellence
is here to tell us more. Welcome back, Jessica.
That's really why we did the exhibit.
I know. Were you born in that
Mike
decade?
No, I'm sure you're an 80s baby.
I missed it by one.
Okay.
Yeah.
You and Mary. Mary's a 1980
but
girl.
This has been open just a few days.
Yeah, we just opened on Saturday. So Searching for the 70s, we are taking a trip back in time. Not that far back. I think it's kind of exciting to explore maybe a more recent time in our history. And as you said, a lot happened during the 70s. So we're kind of exploring all facets of that.
What are some of the things visitors will see when they stop by?
So the exhibit itself is coming to us from the National Archives and the Smithsonian, so we're excited to have them back as a partner. The exhibit is 90 photographs that document the decade of the 1970s. It was a project done by the Environmental Protection Agency to sort of document not only environmental issues, but political issues, as you said, fashion, culture, kind of just creating this time capsule, really, of the 1970s. And then what the museum did was reach out to our community to look for objects from the 1970s that would sort of help really bring that story to life. So you're going to not only see the photos, but you're going to see a lot of really cool things that we got as well.
I was going to say, what did you get? Do you have one favorite one?
Oh my gosh, we have everything from furniture to clothing, bell bottoms, platforms, of course. A whole section of records, metal lunchboxes, 8-track tapes.
Had you done anything like this before, reaching out to the community?
No.
I know. Well, the Prohibition exhibit, I saw a lot of local ties to that too.
Right. So we always try and have a local tie to the exhibit. A lot of what you saw in Prohibition was stuff from our own collection or from private collectors.
Yeah.
This was really our first crowdsourcing effort, where we were just reaching out to the community in general and saying, hey, who has stuff from the 1970s that we think would be cool to display? And again, it's just to sort of supplement these photographs and really bring that story to life. And we hope that the response so far has been people walking through and saying, I had one of those, or I remember that. And that's really kind of what we were trying to do, is just take people back who did live through the decade, and for those who didn't, maybe have them go through with someone who did and tell them a little bit about it.
What do you remember from the 70s, Mike?
Not a
They
lot,
say
but
if you remember the 70s, you weren't
there.
That's the famous quote.
It is. It seemed like a simpler time.
Yeah.
Prior to computers and everything was simpler. But
when you think about major events in our history, Vietnam, Watergate, all of these things happened during the 70s. And I think because it is so recent, a lot of people have really, really strong memories. And we're hoping people can kind of come through and share those memories with maybe those who didn't live through it.
Yeah, and I guess it depends if you went through that era, and if you did, there's a whole generation of people that were never around in the 70s.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see what they take away from that.
Yeah, and a lot of influences on today. I mean, if you look at our kind of wall of fashion that's in the exhibit, there's a lot of those things that you look at things in stores today, they're coming back. A lot of the toys that we have in the exhibit, a little bit different version, maybe a little bit safer, but a lot of those things you can still buy today. So I think kids are going to have a relationship to it as well.
You guys always do a lot to incorporate the kids and to engage the kids. What does that include this time?
So this has a really fun section. Part of what we got from the community was a ton of vintage toys. So Star Wars collectibles.
Mike's ears just perked up.
I know, I love Star Wars. Yeah.
Play School Little People, if you remember those. Rock'em Sock'em Robots. So what we did was we put all of those vintage toys behind cases so people can see them and maybe talk a little bit about them. But then we have today's version out for kids to play with. So there's a huge Hot Wheels track. There's an Atari video game, Simon, Stretch Armstrong, all of these kinds of toys so that kids can interact with them while maybe the parents look at the ones that are a little more vintage.
Yeah.
So
Well, Tonka toys, when toys were made like
they were made
toys
well.
should be, right?
Yeah.
You also have a lecture series coming up, right?
We do. So we are very excited. We have a guest lecturer coming from the Smithsonian to kind of talk about photography and entertainment and what those things from the 70s kind of meant to our culture. So she will be here in March, and anyone can make a reservation for that lecture. It's just regular museum admission. And then we also offer once a month kind of a behind the scenes up close tour. So before the museum opens on Saturday, we bring in a local expert and they give an hour guided tour.
What do you see in that tour that you normally don't see?
Well, you see the same things, but these people are going to be able to maybe focus. If you're looking for maybe the story behind things, or maybe a little more detail about the decade and want to be able to ask questions to somebody, we always have gallery guides within the gallery to do that, but this will be a chance to maybe learn a little bit more if you're looking for that.
We took the kids to the Durham a few weeks ago. We got our annual membership at the same time, which is a great time to be thinking about that for everybody else out there, because memberships, it's a great value.
Yeah, so it's a 12-month membership. So whenever you join, it's 12 months of free admission to the museum. That includes all of our exhibits, all of our lectures, tours, everything. So yeah, we really encourage people to support the museum, join. Now's a great time because we have a whole year of stuff coming up. We were recently named a National Historic Landmark, so we have a lot of fun stuff coming up, and we encourage everybody to join in.
Get in on the fun. DurhamMuseum.org is the website you can go to, or give them a call. 444-5071. Jessica, good to see you.
Thanks
for coming in.
Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, you
I'm
got to come
looking
down. It's
forward to it
awesome.
for
Yeah, that should be a fun one. Today's National Margarita Day, and if you're looking